Hello everybody, this is Fillington Bobbin here, and welcome to Top Gear Talk Show episode 4. Now, I know it's just me at the moment. I did have Domtron just on here, but then he decided he wanted to, well, actually, I don't know what he decided he wanted to do. He just left the call abruptly. Oh. There you are, what the heck happened? Domtron.
I tried to make the iPad work. Safari does not support cameras.
Okay, well, we're live. So there we go. Okay, that's what happened apparently. Domtron just tried to use his iPad camera and it doesn't work. So that's nice. Yeah. So if you're wondering why you're not seeing Domtron in the flesh and instead you're seeing an anime profile pic instead, apparently Domtron's webcam is broken, which means that it can't be used by him. And you're also probably wondering, where is Wilson? Because Wilson was also supposed to be on the show today. And the answer to that is, I have absolutely no idea. So, we've got me, who's perfectly set up and ready to go. We've got Domtron, whose webcam is broken, but is here nonetheless. And we've also, who is, I don't know,
Bang.
anywhere. Let's see, this is on Discord. No, this is on StreamYard. We're not using Discord because
Discord is broken.
Actually, I wonder if Discord can be used for doodads, but we're not worried about that today. We're worried about this. So,
Again.
anyway, so we do apologize for the 15-minute delay. I did purposely delay this live stream by 15 minutes because I wanted to wait until Russell got here. Russell, however, is still not here. So, but the show must go on. I'm not going to spend the whole day waiting for a moron. So, we're just going to just jump straight into it. and roll with it. Now, I do have an entire list of topics to talk about, ranging across all sorts of avenues: NASCAR, Tim Tom Friends, the lot, um, and other things as well. Because a lot of stuff. Sean, you don't need to whistle all the time.
Excuse me.
You know it's annoying when someone else is talking on a live stream, right?
Continue.
Anyway, so yeah. Also, once again, we're using StreamYard to do this live stream because at this point, StreamYard has become our fixed um use for this thing. And to be fair, I do like using StreamYard. I guess the only issue is the watermark on the top right, but and I can there you go. StreamYard is now getting free advertising on this live stream, like they have been doing for the past 2 months. They're using this or using this thingamajig. Basically, Top Your Talk Show episode 3, and
Did you mean episode 5?
and and the New Year's Eve thingamajig. That was a sausage. Speaking of fiveness, I do actually have an idea for Top Your Talk Show episode number 5, which will probably happen. I don't know.
Oh.
Depends on how many news. But anyway, so a bunch of things have happened since last time we did a talk show. So I think right now is a good time to do it. So, I have an entire list of stuff, but however, we're gonna be starting out. Actually, I mentioned things to me. I was just looking around YouTube, finding any footage online. I was over TMCC S2 electric. When suddenly I got a notification saying a live stream was happening, I got so excited when Discord isn't being. I mean, we're using StreamYard, which you can still use, but at the same time, you should have told me ahead of time if you want to be a part of it. Actually, I wonder, maybe we can get Snoopy onto this program as well, since Russell wasn't here. But at the same time, we're going to be talking about things that sort of me and Domton and probably Russell would know about. Anyway, so starting with the first thing. I don't know why my iPad is here. Never. Well, StreamYard is on the internet. You can. I have an invite link which I could send in Discord, but maybe no time. Anyway, so starting with a live update because let's just say that a lot of things that have been happening in my life that I think are worth talking about. So as you know, I really haven't been doing that much on YouTube since the start of this year. I've only uploaded 2 videos in the span of so many days, being the Winter Special, which originally I was hoping to be something quite big, but instead it was something that I thought just wasn't worth my time anymore. So that's why I pretty much just rushed the video and released it in an unfinished state. But then again, I did do a poll on my channel to say, do you want me to make this the best video I can, or do you want me to just slack off a bit? And the slack off answer was the main answer, and I'm actually quite happy for that because it only took me like 1 more day to finish the video and stuff. And then I did my NASCAR predictions video, which I thought turned out pretty well. And of course I've done my live streams here and there, but other than that, I've really been doing too much YouTube. I think one of the contributing factors to that's because of stuff that's been going on in my life outside of YouTube, basically, as far as school is concerned. Luckily, me, as far as the 12th grade, is going to be heading in a positive direction because, luckily now all of my classes are at a point where I feel like, everything at this point is pretty much set up so I can pretty much have almost guaranteed success and be able to get my high school diploma come June 5th, which is when I officially graduate from high school, thank God. Because all enough, the second semester has officially started, and let's say I'm now enrolled into a couple of emergency classes which I find to be quite interesting. One of which is the class that basically replaced the previous class before, which I thought was rubbish. But this new class I think is going to go very well because it allows for quite a lot of freedom, and you might even see a YouTube or a video project from me here on this channel, possibly. And there's also this media arts class where basically we learn how to use Adobe Premiere and Photoshop. I've never actually dabbled into those 2 programs previously because of the super subscription scheme thing. That's why I've just stuck to using Vegas and Paint.net for the time being. But if I can get some kind of a discount, or if I can manage to get my hand on those programs for free, I might be able to start using those for my YouTube related stuff and make my videos a higher quality than ever before. Because I want to, I mean, even though I'm really not going to be so much focused on my channel going into the future, I still want to put out the highest quality videos that I can as long as I feel like it. Um, and I mean, the stuff that I have now is good for that, but I feel like it can be better. But only time will tell as far as that. Meanwhile, one of the other reasons why I haven't been doing too much YouTube related stuff is because I've been also been getting distracted by some train simulator related stuff. Like recently, me and Domtron came across this Shinkansen 300 series DLC thing, which is freeware, and I basically did a lot of messing around with that to try to improve it, which I think I did quite well at for the most part. But yeah, that was a pretty good distraction. And some other things as well. And although this week I have started to work on something that is YouTube related, and I will release more details about that soon. So I guess that's all I have to say about for the live update. I guess if you guys have any more questions, comments, or concerns, then just put it in the chat or the comments or whatever. Yeah, that's all I have to say as far as life update is concerned. Although I say that, okay, I just realized, although, I still have no idea what my life is going to be like after I graduate high school, because, basically my goal after high school, straight after high school is complete, is that I want, and then in September, I basically want to go to the university, and otherwise I know how to study automotive tech and stuff like that. But I just don't know what the chances of that are happening are, because of some other limitations and stuff. So I don't know. This is why this year is a bit scary for me, because after high school is over, I have no idea what is gonna happen. It's just it's basically unknown territory at this point, and I'm not gonna know until I get close to that point, or maybe right at that point. I just don't know yet. There's just not enough things. Not enough things set in stone yet. So so who knows? Things could go anywhere. I have no idea what is gonna happen, but only time will tell, I suppose. Let's see. So, quick note: if you want to make money off YouTube, you need a special degree. I don't know what kind of degree. Yeah. See, that's the thing. I wish I could make money off of YouTube, but with YouTube's rules now at this point for monetization, it's just not a viable source. And I mean, I'll still make YouTube videos for fun, but it's not gonna be something that I'm gonna make a full-time career out of. Definitely not. I think going down the career as a car guy, a race car driver, and car guy in general, I suppose, is going to be better in the long term, because that's a lot more viable, and depending on how things turn out, only time will tell, really. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now, I guess. So I guess that concludes the live update portion of this live stream. Or this talk show. Okay, so now to talk about something that recently happened, something that everyone was talking about at the time, and that is over the course of last week we lost two figures in the world of sports, by the names of Kobe Bryant and John Andretti. So basically, a world famous, I guess, basketball player and a race car driver who, for the longest time, has been battling colon cancer. Although, Kobe Bryant, though, apparently died because of a helicopter crash, and that was because the helicopter in question was traveling in bad weather. So already a red flag there. I don't know why in the world, why everyone on that helicopter thought that was going to take flight in such horrible weather. Because I would have said no. Like, if the conditions were genuinely bad for flying, I would have been like, this is a bad idea, and it's definitely not something. It's not a good idea, really. So I don't know what in the world Kobe and everyone else in that helicopter was thinking when the weather was so bad, but It's what ultimately led to tragedy. So
Mhm.
yeah. So top your top tip: if you're flying in general, don't do it in poor conditions. Um, that's really the best way forward. But anyway, so I guess now going over Kobe Bryant's statistics. Apparently his career went from 1996 to 2016. So long enough, he was already retired from full time playing. Um, so I guess it's not too bad of a thing. I guess, but at the same time, you know. Although as far as statistics go, so I got this off of Wikipedia. Apparently, he's a five-time NBA champion, two-time NBA finalist for MPV or MVP or something. NBA Most Valuable Player, 18-time NBA All Star, four-time NBA All Star Game MVP, uh, 11-time All NBA First Team, two-time All NBA Second Team, two-time All NBA Third Team, nine-time NBA All Defensive First Team, three-time NBA All Defensive Second Team, two-time NBA Scoring Champion, NBA Slam Dunk Contest Champion, NBA All Rookie Second Team, number 8 and 24 retired from Los Angeles Lakers. Naismith Prep Player of the Year and first time Parade All American. Now, I know nothing about basketball, so I have no idea if that's good enough. But I can only assume though, looking at from a sort of sports analyst, um, I mean it's definitely a number of accomplishments, which I think are quite interesting. Yeah, I can't say if this is good enough because I know nothing about basketball. Oh, I forgot. And to add though, he's apparently scored 33,643 points, 7,047 rebounds, and 6,306 assists. I have no idea what that means because I'm not a basketball person, but there you go. And now on
Mhm.
to John Andretti. Now I am no basketball analyst, but I am a racing analyst, so I can at least tell you the story of John Andretti as far as racing career goes. So I know for a fact that John Andretti he drove in NASCAR for a number of years, but he also had some starts in IndyCar. So basically, over 393 races in the NASCAR Cup Series. So he's made scored two NASCAR wins, Cup wins, 13 top fives, 37 top tens, four poles, and average finish of 25.2. Now, considering the equipment that Andretti has been driving for most of his career, which has been at Richard Petty Motorsports, a struggling Richard Petty Motorsports, and a couple other teams as well, they're about what you'd expect. Yeah, so John Andretti, he's definitely not up there with the greatest drivers of all time. He's not even up there with like the most mediocre drivers of all time because but again, considering the equipment that John Andretti has been driving, it's about what you expect. Oddly enough, though, other notable things to note about Andretti is that he got a top five in the 1991 Indianapolis 500, one kart win in 73 starts, and one IMSA win in 3 starts. So he's definitely had an interesting career, to say the least. And apparently he was diagnosed with cancer in mid 2017, which I had no idea about. Um, because all enough, I never even knew that much about John Dre in the first place because I first found out about him in the form of NASCAR Racing 2000 season because he was the number 43 car in that game. But I had no idea about this whole cancer thing until when the news came out that he passed. So yeah, that's the
That's
thing.
them pepperonis.
So yeah, so I guess rest in peace to a pair of sports figures, as in Kobe Bryant and John Andretti. So what would I see John Andretti have been more success though, but I guess it is what it is. Okay, so I guess moving on to something on a bit of a lighter note. So now we need to talk about Train Simulator. So so Train Simulator 2020, that game, it's definitely had an interesting start to the year because recently in Train Simulator, as far as DLC is concerned, I have seen a rising number of DLCs by Just Trains,
Mm.
and those two words alone might cause someone or cause someone out there to shudder because Just Trains has at this point developed a reputation of creating content that is pretty bad, I will say. Like I guess examples would be the Chiltern Main Line they made, which is pretty bad. And then they made the Western Main Lines, which was bad. They made a lot of bad routes, really, especially Newcastle to Edinburgh and some others that I can't think of right now. And it's just a shame that Just Trains have to cheap out so much and make these garbage looking routes that just aren't worth it. And the way they price these routes too is just through the roof. Like it's amazing how expensive it is to pay for a Just Trains route because there's even some DLCs from that Just Trains made in 2010 that's still selling at $30. It's like overpriced. Yes. And now it seems that Dovetail is going in an interesting direction, and after the longest time, they have now started to post stuff to the Steam store. So basically, there's a few DLCs by Justice that come to mind that they released to the Steam store. One of them being the London to Aylesbury route, which is pretty bad. They released the Valley Corridor route, which is a route that I would like if it wasn't so bad. You know, the Valley Corridor is an interesting one because it's a fictional route and it's actually pretty interesting on paper. But then you look at the route itself and the scenery is complete garbage. But that's just Trains for you. And and then they released the S8 stock, which is part of the London Underground system. Now I watched Maverick Curry Dan's review of that DLC, and it's okay, I guess. But then you look at the price tag, and now the thing is with most, or things with pretty much every locomotive train thing that comes out for a train simulator, is that it's usually priced at a maximum of $20. Sometimes it will go a little bit more than that if the DLC includes a lot of stuff, which which usually is reasonable. Like I'd say that most of Dovetail's locomotives and other locomotives by the third party developers on the Steam store for Train Simulator is mostly at a reasonable price. But now they've released the S8 stock by Just Trains and it's $32, which is way overpriced. I don't know how in the world Dovetail will yeah, we'll sell your locomotive on our Steam store, and we'll even price it at the price that you want to price at. Just okay, price it at $32, even though I don't even think it's worth $15. Maybe not even not. Well, it's barely worth more than 10, I'd say, as in the S8 stock. So it's just amazing to me though. I'm starting to think that there's a lack of new content to release from Dovetail and other high quality developers. So Dovetail were like, we still gotta release stuff to the Steam store though, so how about we get our mints to Just Trains? Because Just Trains have an entire catalog of DLCs that still have yet to be released to the Steam store. So, yeah, so now it's happening. It's definitely not a good scenario because most of the Just Train stuff being released to the Steam store just isn't very good. I mean, sure there is some good stuff like the Chinese content. There's the Cornish mainland, which I hear isn't actually that bad of a route. But then there's everything else, which is rubbish, honestly. So yeah, I don't know what's going on at Just Trains' HQ, or no. Well, okay, yeah, I don't know what goes on at Just Trains' HQ when they build these routes because they're terrible, and I don't know what's going on at the Dovetail HQ, as in why this DLC has been released in the Steam store. Because for the longest time, Dovetail hasn't released any DLC by Just Trains that is genuine rubbish, especially Western Main Lines and the Tilted Main Line come as examples. Like those routes came out in 2017, and yet neither of those are on the Steam store yet, and really so because I feel like for the longest time Dovetail surprisingly has had a quality control thing where if a third party DLC doesn't meet Dovetail standards, then it just isn't released in the Steam store. But now now Dovetail have changed their minds and they said that now they will release whatever third party DLC to the Steam store, no matter how bad it might be, as has been exemplified by the release of Just Trains DLC. So I figured this was an interesting topic to bring up because it's definitely something we're talking about. It's like, why is this going on? On the bright side, though, there is an upcoming DLC that I am very excited for to come to Train Simulator, being the M2s and M4s. That is a DLC that I'm very much looking forward to because that, of course, is a train that runs on the Northeast Corridor, and pretty much any Northeast Corridor related content released for Train Simulator pretty much goes straight into my collection. So that is a DLC that I am very much looking forward to. I'm probably not gonna get it until it goes on sale though, so we'll see what happens. Anyway,
Mhm.
so Dom, trying to guess in the midst of all the salts, you would like to add your take?
Uh, yeah, it's just trains. Not really much to say about it. I mean, the S8, I could really look forward to getting if I wanted to get it, but it'd have to be on sale. Really, that's the only thing I can really say about it. Which, give it a few years on the Steam store, could maybe get a good sale, but
Slightly.
we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, from Soupy, the Trainsplant reminds me, do you happen to remember the Roblox live stream last year? If you do, you played a game called Rails Limited Map Dog on Overhaul. Sometime you can play it together. It's just great. Remember, oh yeah, Rails Unlimited. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do Roblox live stream again. Who knows? Maybe next month if you're lucky. I don't really know, but that depends. Let's see. Well, just remember, people get paid to work hard on these routes, and to pay those guys again for the route. Apex remind them so prices. See, the thing is, I feel like a reasonably priced DLC for Train Simulator, it needs to meet certain criterias. Like, I guess for a route, the textures need to be up to date with the current standards. They need to be as realistic as possible. Um,
Hmm.
and just generally, I just expect these routes to look good. Like, look at West Coast Mainline Trent Valley. I mean, sure, yes, that's a route that is extremely linear. But as far as the scenery is concerned, that should be like the benchmark for any route made for trains. Like anyone that makes a route for train simulator, if especially if it's a big developer like Just Trains or Armstrong Prowse or whatever, the benchmark for quality control should be the West Coast Millennium Trent Valley. I think anything below that is not a reasonable price. So, um, even if it does cost quite a bit to build these routes because you have to pay your workers and stuff, um, it's either make your route as good as you can, um, with the budget that you have, or just don't even bother making routes because only the least sane people are gonna buy them. Not us more sane people who have good taste
Well, one thing
and
I don't
stuff.
understand is we have dovetail games that can constantly bring out new routes. Let's say every 3 months. I'm not sure the exact statistics, but let's say 3 months that don't use any. Well, not a lot of Kuju assets. I mean, there could be one or two, but they don't use a lot of Kuju assets, and yet they're pretty high quality, and they're only like $40. But then you have some company like Just Trains who is constantly making these routes with Kuju assets and stuff from their own common library that's been around for a tiny bit now. And yet it costs 50 some odd dollars. It just it doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing I don't understand. To this day, Just Train tools still make routes that utilize default Kuju assets. And if you guys don't know anything about the Kuju assets, basically the Kuju assets were the standard in Train Simulator from the start, and they were that way until the release of Train Simulator 2013, where before. Oh,
We're interrupted for 1 sec. Be back in 1 second. Hopefully. Jesus, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
just a second.
Okay, well, we'll be back in 1 second, boys. Oh, here he is now.
Okay, we're back. I do apologize for the. Oh my, really?
Oh, sweet, sweet. It's raining. Hallelujah. It's raining. And first of all, I'm just going again. Okay, boys. We'll. Oh my.
Okay, apologies again. I didn't think I was gonna get interrupted the second time, but here we are. So yeah. Anyway, as I was saying before I got interrupted, anyway, so going back to the Kuju assets thing, Majik. Basically, what was the standard train simulator was that even routes made by Dovetail themselves basically utilized the Kuju assets. However, by the time like Train Simulator 2013 came out, by then the game was starting to sort of raise the bar a bit more. And so the Kuju assets were no longer used, well, super heavily anyway, in routes, and new assets continue to be made for routes that were released new. Something like that for the longest time. Of course, Dovetail will still use Kuju assets now and again, but at least it's nowhere near as bad as it once was. But then you have Just Trains who still use the Kuju assets, and
Heavily.
I just don't understand why. That's the part that makes no sense to me. I mean, sure, there are the occasional custom assets made by Just Trains to make the roads feel a bit more realistic, but they're just the things that just make no sense. Anyway, let's see. So he says not everyone can afford the best computer. See, even if you can't afford a gaming computer, you can still set the graphics like low on Tracer. Like watch any live stream I did on Tracer back in 2017 or 2018 on my old computer, and that was a computer that wasn't the best thing in the world, but at least it could play Tracer somewhat decently. I mean, sure, the Kuju assets do make the frame rate better, but does that really matter? I don't think so. I think that the Kuju assets should just stop being used fully in modern routes, and we should just, well, make custom assets, or just even that, just use good quality assets that already exist, but like reusing, like as long as like reusing assets, as long as it's realistic, I feel is fine. If the asset itself looks good, but if it's a Kuju asset and it looks terrible, then it's not fine. I feel like there needs to be a boundary on that. Anyway, so dinner has just arrived. I'm not gonna stop the show though because I think it's going quite low actually. Oh, it says in here so eats it before it gets too hot or too cold. I mean, so balls. Anyway, so that was my TED talk on Train Simulator and stuff. But not much else to say about the game apart from the fact that it's the same deal. Oh. That's just Train Simulator. Not everyone has great computers. Some people, even graphics as low as possible, will crash computers, but well,
I don't know how that works,
see,
but okay.
you have to have you need to have a really, really bad computer, for Train Simulator to crash in any route. Yeah. So I mean, if you have a super bad computer that isn't made for gaming, then I think at that point you have to get a computer that is at least better because if you're pretty much forced to play the game on the lowest graphic settings and the game still isn't low, then either your computer is just either your computer's really old or just really terrible. In which case, you should sell your computer or throw it in the bin and get a better one. If you can't do that, then sucks to be you. Anyway, so moving on now. So we're shifting from train sim to NASCAR. Now, this is partially. See, now everyone's rich. Well, still. Anyway, this is partially a NASCAR channel, so we gotta talk about NASCAR. So, quite a few interesting things have happened in the world of NASCAR. For example, it is now been confirmed that Daniel Suarez is going to go on Brothers Racing. This is a move that is interesting because Suarez to go on Brothers, I feel like it could be like in the long term it could have some good in the future, like when Casey Mears went to Germain Racing, before Mears got yeeted in favor for plastic, but this could be interesting. Will Suarez win a race? Probably not for the next few years, unless they get into like some kind of partnership. But the thing about Suarez is that I actually really like Suarez, but at the same time, he spent 3 years in top-end equipment and didn't do anything at all impressive. Like, he got a stage win at Wakazuna in 2017, and that's about the only memorable thing that Suarez really did. After that, he just didn't do anything. And, he spent 2 years at JGR, 1 year at SHR. and he just didn't do anything I found impressive. And I want to like Suarez, but he's just not as good as say, well, the top guys like Suarez. He's definitely not as bad as some of the pay drivers that have recently come to the sport, but he's not as good as Kyle Busch or Truex or Harvick either, um, which I feel is unfortunate. But maybe part of the reason for that is just because the fact that Suarez was rushed up to the Cup Series um, after he won his Xfinity Series championship. I mean, part of that has to do with the fact that that Carl Edwards just suddenly retired at the end of the 2016 championship season, or yeah, Cup Series season, I guess. Um, so yeah. But I think Schwartz to Gunn Brothers isn't gonna be a bad thing for the long term because I feel like maybe eventually they can build up the team together. And Gunn Brothers isn't necessarily a high quality team. They're pretty much on the same level as I'd say Starcom Racing um maybe even Front Row. Like I don't want to say Premium Motorsports or Rig World Racing because I feel like Gunn Brothers is higher than that, but I could be wrong. I don't really know too much, but that's really my knowingness from watching NASCAR last year and stuff. So overall, this could have good results in long term, but only time will tell. But at this point, Suarez's last effort is to in the Cup Series, so yeah. I mean, Suarez his average finish is definitely gonna dip for the short term, but only time will have to tell for the long term. Other news. So now now we're going to NASCAR themselves. And let's just say that NASCAR is going to do some major stuff with the stages next year.
Oh, the Gen 8s. Don't forget the Gen 8s.
Okay, first of all, it's the Generation 7.
Excuse me, 7.
I haven't actually talked about the Generation 7 all on this channel. I might say after I'll talk about stages though. So basically, stage racing has been a thing in NASCAR since 2017, and this year they're going to be changing a little bit. Basically, what's going to be happening is that, well, basically what happened before from when stages were first introduced to the end of 2019 was basically the race was broken up into 3 stages, and the first 2 stages broke up the first half of the race, where basically you had 1/4 of the race and then another quarter of the race, and then you had the rest half of the race left at stage 3. However, stage racing for this year is going to be a bit different, whereas instead of the 2/4 of the, or I had 2/4 of the race and then half of the race left, now the race is going to be broken up into thirds. So, and this is all enough how I thought that stages were going to be a thing in the first place, but they're doing it now because to improve the racing somehow. So basically, stage 1, 2, and 3 is just going to be quarter 1, it's going to be 1/3 of the race, then the second third of the race, and the final third of the race. The thing about stage racing though is that I mean, sure, it awards consistency, and I could see why they implemented it in the first place, but the thing about stage racing is that it really hasn't changed up the game that much in NASCAR to the point where I think we could probably do without stages, and we could just go back to a single stage race, I guess you'd call it, like how it was before stages were introduced. Just spit water on my shirt. Hold on me. But with that said, I guess all enough, they were considering adding a 4th stage, which I think is a bit much for obvious reasons. So, but then NASCAR came out and said that they don't want to implement a 4th stage until after they see how the 2021 season go, when the next generation or the Generation 7 car is the new standard. So basically, if the racing is now good again in 2021 with the new car, then NASCAR will just keep the same. But if the racing still sucks, which I hope isn't the case, then they might just add a 4th stage. I don't think adding a 4th stage is going to fix anything. It's just going to make the race more of a clown show than it already was, and it's just pointless, really. So, who knows? Maybe though, after a little while, they just can entirely get rid of stages. I kind of want, or at least get rid of stage cautions. Because stages is actually somewhat of a good idea still, because it awards consistency. But I think the But really, the best way to round that is really to just get rid of the end of the stage cautions, which I think will make competition better and stuff. Um, Guess already discussed about the stage racing for the most part. Let's see. Other news, good news that came out recently is that the NASCAR Xfinity Series is going to be racing on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course in 2020, which is this year. Which I think is a good idea because we need more road courses in NASCAR, and I think the Xfinity Series racing on the road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway is definitely going to help the series because that's honestly what they should have done 7 years ago when the Xfinity Series started going to Indianapolis Speedway instead of Indianapolis Raceway Park, which is not even an hour away. But either way, it's definitely going to be an interesting race. And although it's on a Saturday, so I don't know if I'll be able to watch it.
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday in the summer as well. So I don't know if I'll actually be able to see the race, but if I manage to see the race somehow, then I will definitely watch it because it sounds like entertainment. I mean, it's NASCAR at a road course. What more could you want? Anyway,
NASCAR Super Speedway.
yeah, but we already do that 4 times a year, so I think we're good on that. I don't think we need any more super speedway races. Okay, maybe we do, but only time will tell for that. Anyway, so let's see. So that's that. I guess now to talk about the next generation car, there really isn't that much to say about that hasn't already been said. My biggest hopes though is that it does what NASCAR wants it to do and it improves the races. Oddly enough, some news did come out about the next generation car today. The fact that NASCAR is going to be running even more tests with the car throughout this year, and hopefully the next generation car will be a finished product by the time that this year's season concludes, and we can go into 2021 with a revamped car, which will hopefully make the racing better. So that should be interesting. And I guess that's all there is to say about NASCAR for now. Oh yeah, well 2020 is coming up. 2020 is upon us, but we're gonna talk about that a bit more later. So anything else you'd like to add?
Not really.
Oh. Anyway, dinner has arrived, so I'm just gonna. Well, I say it's
Din
arrived.
din.
It's arrived for a
Kill
while
it.
now, so I'm gonna just start chewing into it a bit on the show.
Can't play.
Anyway,
Can't hit.
so here's hoping that NASCAR has a good future. Oh, also, other news I forgot to write down that came out about NASCAR today. Well, I say NASCAR. It's NASCAR related, but it's not NASCAR themselves. It's related to do another with one of the other teams in NASCAR.
Oh,
and politics.
No.
So, as you know, the year is 2020, and this year Donald Trump is probably going to get elected for president again because I don't see anyone else getting into the White House at this point, or into office, I should say. So in celebration of this, one of the teams is going to be running a Trump paint scheme for quite a while, actually. So I think that I forget who was going to be driving these two cars or vehicles, I suppose. But it's going to be a number 01 truck and number 03 car in the Xfinity Series, which will both be a Trump car for the 2020 thingamajiggies. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing these cars on track. And of course, it's raising controversy in the world of the in the world of NASCAR. A lot of people love this idea, and a lot of people also hate this idea. But of course, I'm on the side of loving it, and I will definitely look forward to seeing how it goes. So yeah, but yes, the Trump train is barreling into NASCAR next year, and I think it's gonna be interesting. Oh, I also realized John Animatek is driving a Trump car as well in the Daytona Xfinity race, number 47. So all about an interesting amount of Trumpness will be going in the world of NASCAR in 2020, which I think is a good time to do it for obvious reasons. So yeah. Anyway, so I guess now moving on from NASCAR, and I'm moving on to Tim Tom and Friends and Big Bull Big Adventures.
Big world, big adventures.
So, season 24 is right around the corner, and we have some leaks about it. I say leaks, that's all it is. And we got the covers, the promos and stuff for the two specials that are going to be a part of season 24. Well, I say specials, they're specials. Anyway, being the Royal Engine and Marvelous Machinery. Now, I think that these pair of specials, they have potential to be good. But the question is, will they be? Because, you have the Royal Engine, where we're going to be introduced to the character of Duchess, who was the steam engine in the picture. And we also have Marvelous Machinery, which confirms that there will be we will now have a modern high-speed train in Simsong, finally.
Quote unquote modern.
Yeah, I think it's about time that we got a modern high-speed train in the series. So I'll definitely be looking forward to that. And we also, but then you look at the cover behind it, and you have the fat controller and a massive robot and a flying car. I don't know. I mean,
Marketing.
yeah. Having a modern high-speed train, which is in the form of Shinkansen Zero series, by the way. I think having that in the series is nice, but the other two things, it depends on how it's executed. But
The robot can die.
yeah. What I'm only assuming though is that this is Mattel's representation of Japan in the '60s. Will it be good? I honestly do not know. I just don't know. I just don't understand. Well, I don't understand anything at this point with Big World Big Adventures. It could be good, but it could also be absolutely terrible. But I'm not gonna say either because anything is possible at this point, especially with their fluctuating quality with the episodes. As some episodes are better than others. Seriously, camera! Ah!
Told you.
It yeeted itself.
Told you.
Okay, it's fixed now. Anyway, so yeah. I can't say for sure though. Again, I just can't. I can't say anything. But then again, with how big Big Adventures has been so far, you really can't expect anything. Although I guess one thing, I hope happens in season 24. I hope we get an episode in the United States because we've been to various places, around the world in Big Adventures so far. But I think season 24 is going to be the season where we get an episode set in the United States of America. And we might even see the return of a couple of familiar faces. If we're very lucky, we might see the return of Sam, the big green engine, or I should say the bigger green engine, who got a storybook and some merchandise back in 2015, I think it was. And you also have Vinny from The Great Race. Yeah.
Vinny!
Yeah.
I need my Vinny.
So yeah, of course these are just predictions, so put on your tinfoil hats. But I think that would make for some interesting episodes in the United States. Who knows, maybe Vinny will learn his lesson that he collected in the Great Race movie and stuff. That'll be interesting. Yeah. Although season 24 is going to be an interesting one. Well, I say an interesting one. I should say post season 24 is going to be an interesting one because it's been confirmed by Mattel themselves that season 24 will be James Field's final animated season of the show. Basically, that means that after season 24 is over, for season 25, I'm not even sure they're going to be season 25 at this point. We're going to have a new animating studio. No idea who it's going to be. It could be literally anybody. I hope it's not anyone that's rubbish. But,
Hey, maybe we could get a Japanese animation crew.
oh god, no.
And Thomas and Friends could turn into anime. God help us.
Actually, I don't know.
Bernie the Bum is so flabbergasted.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Bernie the Bum hates anime.
So I guess with that being said, any other predictions for season 24 that could occur?
Eh.
Okay. Anyway, so now on to some other news, which we're not going to stick on for too long because there's not much to say about, but Brexit. So,
British exit.
so Britain is now no longer officially a part of the European Union, which is interesting because I guess for the longest time Britain has been trying to separate itself from the European Union. I have no idea why. But yeah, Britain is no longer a European country. It is now its own country. Um, I really am not sure why, but it is what it is, I guess. Um, so I don't see this impacting Britain too much. There might be some changes though. Now that's no longer part of Europe. I don't see it impacting the railways too much of Britain. It may have a slight impact on the Channel Tunnel since that connects to Europe. I really can't say anything about it because I don't know much, but it's definitely gonna have some interesting results. Um, I'll say some interesting. Maybe no results at all. Maybe nothing will change actually, and I'm just speculating over nothing. But that's why I like to put on the tinfoil hat when I'm just making predictions because usually my predictions are wrong. But that's just me at this point. So with that said, although there is one thing that does interest me. So as probably most of us knows by now, in mid 2019, Article 13 was signed,
Ah!
which is basically it bans memes in Britain or no Europe. Um, Now, all of the Article 13 was supposed to go for the entirety of Europe. However, for the longest time, I was actually thinking about moving to Britain. Okay, maybe not moving to Britain, but at least going to Britain for, on vacation, I guess. I guess, actually going to Britain on vacation would be a bad idea. Except for Article 13, because, I'm a meme lord, as you may not already know, and I love memes. Yeah, but then you go to Europe and you don't get a lot of any memes. And that also applied to Britain. But then there's the fact that Britain's no longer part of Europe. Does that mean that Article 13 is still going to apply to Britain, or is it now just the rest of Europe and not Britain? Like, can I still go to Britain and be able to view whatever I want on social media? I don't know. Maybe. Again, tinfoil hats recommended.
Ah!
Yeah. Oh shoot. This thing's going weird. Wonky. Wonky whistle. Anyway, so up next, some other news that I found today. Oh, this is interesting. So I like to take a vacation to the UK sometime to enjoy culture and capture trains. I want to do the same thing, honestly. I think the biggest reason why I want to go to the UK is the trains. But of course, there's also quite the more sports scene because only Britain is the home base of most of the teams in Formula One. And of course, you got Silverstone, and actually, there's a bunch of racetracks in Britain. I mean, I think there's so many that you could sanction an entire championship in Britain. So
A
yeah,
champion.
yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can do in Britain actually. Speaking of racing, so now we're going back onto NASCAR, but except not NASCAR, the real version. We're talking about eNASCAR, which is basically
No.
NASCAR except in the virtual world, including the world of iRacing. So speaking of iRacing, so as you may or may not already know, NASCAR themselves sanctions their own championship in iRacing. Now, if you don't know what iRacing is, it is probably the most realistic racing simulator out there, and I've been wanting to get into iRacing myself for quite some time. The only reason why I haven't been able to is because iRacing is expensive, but beyond the price tag, iRacing is really the next best thing to real life, and it's no wonder that many real world racing drivers play on iRacing to get some extra seat time, and of course heck, there's even drivers in iRacing who now race in the Cup Series. William Byron is a prime example. He started racing and iRacing. Look at him now. He's a full-time NASCAR Cup Series racer, and he's getting better as the years go by.
You mean Ricer?
No.
Aw.
So talking about a NASCAR Cup Series, so after last season, Peak Antifreeze, who was the sponsor of the NASCAR iRacing Series, they left. But today it was announced that Coca-Cola is now the new entitlement partner of the eNASCAR iRacing Series, which includes an increased prize pool of, if I pull a thing, $300,000. That is right. I'm not sure if that only goes for the championship or another thing, but you can actually win $300,000 by being the very best in NASCAR's premier sim racing series. So, I think this is really cool because, sim racing has come a long, long, long way since its inception in the early 2000s, and it's only going to continue to get better. And I'm excited for the future of sim racing because, yeah, that's a lot of money. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe even hopefully even a certain guy by the name of Frank Bobbin will add their name to the list of eNASCAR champions. Oh yes. And staying on the topic of video games, in other news, Tony Stewart's sprint car racing game launching on February the 14th. Now, these are news that just came out today, by the way. But Tony Stewart now has his very own sprint car racing game coming to consoles. Now, if you don't know what sprint car racing is, sprint cars are basically midgets, but they race on dirt. So yeah, there's a very focused dirt racing game, by the way. Although it's not the first dirt focused racing game to come out on consoles, but it is the newest. And of course, it's being developed with Tony Stewart and Tony Stewart. He's a big time dirt racer, and also, in fact, this racing game is being developed by the same guys who developed NASCAR Heat 4, which is a good thing because NASCAR Heat 4 is actually a pretty good game, and this game is good as well. So I actually have the description of the game, so I'm gonna read out to you guys. Okay, so 5 days after he was inducted to NASCAR Hall of Fame, it was revealed that Tony Stewart is getting his own video game. Monster Games, the developers of the NASCAR Heat series, has partnered with 3-time Cup champion to produce Tony Stewart's Sprint Car Racing, which will be released digitally on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 on February the 14th and sold to PlayStation for a reasonable $30. The game will feature 410 winged sprint cars and TQ midgets from the All-Star Circuit of Champions and the dirt racing series Tony Stewart owns, and players will also be able to race 305 wingless sprint cars. The game's career mode will allow players to work their way up through the ranks of each series, racing on 24 unique dirt tracks, and multiplayer also allows for 25-player online races. I think this is pretty cool, and I might even get this game for myself eventually. Maybe not anytime soon, but hopefully eventually. Anyway, I don't know where Donald John's went. I think he's just spontaneously combusted. Anyway, we're nearing the end of this talk show, actually. Closing in on an hour in length, which I think is pretty good. Yeah, I was expecting the show to be a bit longer, but, yeah, here we are. We're almost there at the end of the topics list. I guess if Snoopy wants to say anything more, then, we can do that. And, sausages. Anyway, so when Dominic gets back, we can do sausages or something. I don't really know. I'm talking about the mouthful. And don't ask why. But yeah. So, that being said, today was a pretty average day in school. And sausages. But this always seems to be still a some success. I know I titled this Top Gear, actually reading this, Top Gear 2.0 talk show. Top Gear 2.0 sort of talk show. Oh, oops. Talk show episode 4. There we go. I think that's a better title. And we wait for Dom John. In about 10 years. Yeah. I really make Dom together. Also, my dinner is so hot, so I can actually still eat it. So edible. I very much approve of. Yeah, I really still wanted to give me dinner after this stream, but. Anyway. So Dumpster gets back. I don't know what he's doing. No. Hope he gets back. Very bad if he doesn't. Two mouth close means more pointless goals. Oh. I pretty much always use my mouth open when I'm by myself. I guess this is a live stream, so I should be a bit more polite, I suppose. This is a. Oh, it's fine. No, it's fine. Yeah. I'm really glad I did this stream today. Too bad Russell wasn't here, but oh well. When he gets on later, I'll yell at Russell and say, "Where were you when we were doing the talk?" There you are, Domtron.
Yeah, I was I'm good. I'm gonna take care of something quick.
Yeah. Anyway, so would you like to add anything to the NASCAR news and Tony Stewart's new video game?
Not really.
Yeah, you know, I've been encouraging Domtron to get into sim racing. I mean, it could happen if Domtron were to get the money for that, but only time will tell, I suppose. Anyway, we're almost at the end. But now, it's time to make some predictions. Domtron.
Yeah, I'm here.
So we're now coming up on Speed Weeks, which is the start of the NASCAR season. I'm excited. It's been quite the off season, but this weekend NASCAR is back in action, and we're gonna go fast again. And we're gonna be doing so this weekend in the form of the Clash and then the Daytona 500. So Speed Weeks is gonna be fun. So I figured we're gonna have some fun and make some predictions. So we're gonna make 3 predictions for Daytona Speed Weeks, being the Daytona 500 pole winner, the winner of the Clash, the Busch Clash now, and the winner of the Daytona 500 itself. So, yeah, so we're gonna make predictions. So, my prediction to win the pole for the Daytona 500 is gonna be Jimmy Johnson, because I believe in the myth that the Daytona 500 pole is rigged, and since Jimmy Johnson is his final season, it's only inevitable that Jimmy Johnson is gonna get the pole, because again, Jimmy Johnson is his final season. So,
Jimmy John.
yeah. So I see it happening. It's quite likely, actually. And Domtron, would you like to make a prediction for the pole winner?
I honestly have no idea, to be honest.
Oh. Yeah, I guess Domtron isn't as much into NASCAR as I am, as far as the drivers are concerned.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then we come to a couple of wild cards. We have the Clash and the Daytona 500. Now, of course, the Clash field only consists of so many drivers, but still anyone could win it. I don't know. I can't. It's hard to choose at these plate tracks, but there's gonna be a couple of wild card picks for the Clash. It's gonna be let's see. Paul Menard's gone, so we can't pick him. I think it's gonna be Chase Elliott, maybe. Because Elliott has started to show some speed at the plate tracks.
Speed and power.
So I think Chase Elliott is gonna win the Clash this year. Unless he screws up and it goes to somebody else. It's a bit of a bold prediction, but Chase Elliott has actually been quite good at these plate tracks. I think it's gonna be him to win the Clash. It's gonna be Chase Elliott's first non-points win in the Cup Series, or non-points race win. And to for the winner. Now this one is interesting because it could be literally anybody.
No, not literally.
Yeah, literally anybody. Heck, Donald Trump could win the race. I'm kidding. But as far as the field is concerned, it could be literally anybody. It could be Matt DiBenedetto because DiBenedetto did show some speed last year, but then again, you know, I've seen from time to time a guy could have speed one year, but then have no speed the next year in the 500. I wish I wanted to be DiBenedetto because you know he's at Wood Brothers Racing now. But it's just hard to choose, man. So I'm gonna go with the wild card pick. But and just say it's Bandano because that's honestly the best thing that I see happening. I could be completely wrong, and I probably will be wrong. So yeah. Anyway, so I think they did have a for a poll winner. I at least seeing be Jimmy Johnson because it's rigged. But as for the class winner, I have no clue. But there you go. For the class winner, it's gonna be Elliot, and the hot winner is gonna be DeBandano. Anyway, so I guess now to wrap up the show a bit. So I guess now one thing back to relate to my YouTube channel for the last thing. So this channel is gonna be turning 8 years old. That is right. I have now been on an on and off basis of making YouTube content for the past 8 years. It's not every day they come across YouTube channels for making content for 8 years, is it now? And I have a special that's gonna be coming out on the 8th. I mean, not the 8th, the 11th, because that's when my channel turns 8 years old. Although I'm actually working on the video is currently a work in progress, so I'm not sure if the video itself is gonna be released on the 11th. But if it isn't, then what I'll do instead is I'll upload a preview for the video itself, and then I'll release the video itself when it's finished, which will hopefully be within the next week. I guess that's all there is to say. That's it. I wish Russell was here because he could have taken part in this, but I guess he forgot we were doing a talk show today, and then he became a sausage. So, anything else you'd like to say, Donald Trump?
Not really.
Alright, so I guess with that said, so we're now an hour and a few minutes into the talk show, which I think is pretty
An hour
good.
and yeah, exactly 1 hour actually. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I was expecting going for a little bit longer, but I only up the topics that I had lined up today didn't even take that long to talk about. But I'd say this talk show was pretty quality. Even though Russell didn't turn up, but you go yell at Russell. I don't know, but yeah. Guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in whatever I make next. And, yes, and I will see you in, again, whatever I make next.
Yee.
Bye-bye.